Hi everyone, welcome to a duet episode of Words, Images, and Worlds. On this episode, I am delighted to be talking with the creative team of Jimmy Palmiotti and Dave Johnson. Thank you both for joining.
Happy
Oh,
to be here.
yeah. Thanks for
Dave,
having us.
thank you for being here in spite of being injured.
Yeah, well, it's not like I was in an accident. It
You
was
dropped this
something.
sword. You dropped that sword again, right on your foot. How many times you've done that already?
It's an act of
About, but I'm
nobility.
using a knee scooter to get around my apartment, and I got to do that for about 2 weeks, and then supposedly I get a boot that I'm allowed to walk
Oh,
on. So we'll see. So,
I hear it's good to meet women, those knee things. You kind of ask them to help in grocery stores and stuff like that.
oh
They
sure.
like to save, they like to save a guy like you.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't get out of my
do
apartment because
you get to keep the scooter is a question.
well, I actually had to buy it. They gave me crutches at the
Mm.
hospital, and I soon realized that crutches suck. And I bought a used knee scooter off Craigslist, and I plan on selling it back on Craigslist. So hopefully, it won't it'll be
Well,
a zero sum game.
I wonder what the
I might
history
get
is.
it and like try to pick up women. We'll see.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
well,
wonder what the history of that knee scooter is. Who had it last, what
I
their
don't.
story was. Maybe it's like been on 50 people already.
It's in pretty good shape,
Yeah, it could be
So
cursed, could be haunted.
yeah, hey, you
True.
never know.
No, okay.
It's doing
I
good
feel
for
like
me
this is
so
a
far.
pitch.
Yeah. That's our next book, Knee
That's
Scooter.
right.
That's right. That's right.
Knee scooter, limited series.
But I know we're talking pop kill today, but the two of you have collaborated. You've been in comics, both of you, for a nice journey, and I know you've collaborated before. And I'm curious about your writing sessions, your creative sessions. Are they kind of like this?
Yes.
Uh, well, yeah. On Pop Kill, it was kind of a back and forth. We started with the premise.
It was Dave's idea, though.
Yeah, I've had this idea of warring cola companies for I think since the '80s when I
Hmm.
saw a an epic magazine story that had corporations at war with each other. I can't remember who drew it, but I think that stuck in my head. And it was kind of like a premonition that the artist and writer had to what we got going on now, where everything's mega corporations.
Hmm.
Disney now owns everything, and all these, a few companies now own so many tiny companies. And initially the story was going to be set in the future, and over time that changed. And when it came back to me, I was like, maybe I should set it in a normal environment. And I kind of had the bones of it, but I didn't have the romance and things that Jimmy definitely brought. He brought the humanity to it. I think I brought the goofy, weird idea,
Well,
and
I
then
mean, the
he.
idea is, idea is, we have that two thing, that thing I use in writing everything is like, what do the characters want and what do they fear? And so when Dave came to me with this great idea, I said, okay, but how are we going to make people care? Because obviously there's two billionaires in there fighting over a ridiculous thing while they're both filthy rich. So we're going to have to care about the people that aren't them, and the idea that there might be a love story because we always need a good love story. And the it's funny because my background is advertising before comics, and Pepsi was one of my clients. So this hit home, the fact that when Pepsi guys used to come up to our office, we'd have to hide everything that wasn't Pepsi related. I mean, literally hide it. And one time they came up and somebody had a Coke can, and one of the execs just walked right over and just held it and then just threw it in the garbage. Like right there, And it's like, so that kind of insanity is there in the story somewhat. But as far as working together, Dave and I are great friends. So we kind of hang out and we shoot some ideas, and no egos, right? We're just looking for the best idea all the
Yeah.
time, you know? And so that's the fun part of doing this is because we're both shooting to get the best story with no egos. Because what happens with egos is somebody has to have their way. And honestly, I worked with so many other people so many times. When they got a good idea, I'm the first guy to say, "That's a great idea. Let's do that." And that's why I'm able to collaborate a lot. And that's why a lot of people can't collaborate because their ego gets in the way. The ego check gets in the way.
Well, I found with Jimmy different than some of the other people I've worked with or I've tried to work with in the past. Because I'm not, I'm more of an artist than a writer, and writing is still fairly new to me. And I've tried to approach other people, with an idea like you know, maybe 60 or 70% figured out. And they go, oh, that's great. Here's how I'm going to change everything. And I'm like,
Right.
whoa, whoa. Like, that's not the point of this. I'm looking
Right.
for a partner, not somebody to take it over. And that's and Jimmy didn't try to change anything. He just goes, hey, let's add this to it and make it even better. And I was like, yeah. And then we just kept riffing off of that. So it
Yeah.
was a really great working relationship.
Yep.
Any other ingredients of collaboration? Any particular beverages of choice? I know we're talking Coke and Pepsi, but
Well,
outside of that,
Dave is a really one of the top visual designers in comics, right? So besides coming in with a story, he came in with the designs and the look of things and then the company names, which are like the most impossible thing to come up with is a new soda company name.
That
Yet
sounds real.
yeah,
That
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 sounds
was
real. And he
hmm
came up
yeah.
with these two that we're waiting. They may never make a movie out of this, but some company's going to come over and offer us money for Popso and Fizz One. It's eventually going to happen. That's how we're going to make our millions, is that they want to just buy the name out from us.
Well, it's
hmm
funny,
hmm
in the story, the third company is called Prime Pop,
Right,
and we predated Prime Energy Drink.
right.
So I don't know if they're going to come after us
Nah,
or whatever, but we predated that. We've got, I mean, so yeah, it's kind of funny. So I'm waiting for a Prime Pop or a Fizz One to show up, and then we'll call our lawyers.
that's right.
That's right.
I have them on speed dial right here. Lawyers. There it goes, right there.
That's right. Disney's already working on it. They're going to buy it soon.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
hey, go
if,
for it.
if they got the money, fuck it. I
But
don't care.
yeah, we're just happy Mad Cave decided to publish it. So if Disney wants to buy it, we're game. We're all ears for that.
Yeah.
Mouse ears.
Anything about the creative spark? I really want to go for like the creative fizz here, but that seems really, I don't know, that seems too on the nose. That has become the book.
It was about a robot and a girl he befriend, or a girl befriends the robot, and the robot was basically like a Coca-Cola robot whose main job was to sabotage and assassinate people of the opposite company. And it was going to be like Appleseed almost, because I was a big Appleseed fan way back in the day. Still am. I mean, that was a great book, and but it just seemed like the right time to do it. And my sense of humor is a little wacky, a little off the beaten path, and a little dark. So, the thought of ultra violence happening in the name of soda, something that really doesn't matter, that we technically do not need, that's probably killing most people, especially in America with corn syrup and all that. It just seemed ridiculous. And and making the two owners former Siamese twins. Initially they were going to be attached at the spine, and they never faced each other. They've never seen each other with their own eyes, and they fought like crabs in the finale. And but we changed that. That was a bit too ridiculous. I tend to go for the ridiculous. I think it's hilarious, but
Yeah, and
uh,
that's the challenge too, grounding his madness.
yeah.
Was the challenge. And then we have, then we have Juan comes in and draws it, and he grounded even more. I
Oh,
mean,
totally.
he really created Osaka, Japan. Like he really, you get a feel for the guy is not lazy,
No,
Juan.
no.
The backgrounds, the establishing shots, everything, signage. He went crazy, and that really gives the story a little bit more weight, rather than having these floating characters all over the place. He actually went in there and it's very classically drawn as far as comic wise. It's very uh you know as much it has modern coloring and all that kind of stuff, it's really classically drawn. The storytelling is pretty damn on the nose with what we gave him, and we're super happy with the job he did on it.
I was going to ask about shout outs to the creative team. I know it's a collaborative process. Anything else that you'd like to say about the minds behind it?
Yeah, I mean, well, so I've been working with Juan now for I think it's around 20 years. He's done the first time I worked with him was on the Resistance for Wildstorm. We did a whole bunch of books for Wildstorm, and we've been working. He's done Painkiller Jane and everything. So I do have like this shortcut language with him. When I'm writing something, he knows exactly what I'm looking for. And if not, he writes me and says, "Hey, what is it exactly?" So this is when you work with somebody that long and collaborate like that, you tend to get what you're looking for. And he really delivered on this. I mean, there were so many different ways you can go with any script. You can have three artists doing the same script. You're going to get three things. But he really understood and took a cue, I think, also from Dave's covers. That the visuals on them. I think he kind of got inspired by them because Dave's stuff really. I mean, they kind of not that they look alike, but they respectfully engage each other, that it doesn't feel like a different book, and Dave established right away, he established the reds and the certain colors that the books have that makes you
Well,
say, hey, I could see Pop Kill from a mile away.
yeah.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
wanted. I was using Coca-Cola and Pepsi colors. Red, white, and blue. That seemed to be. I mean, once again, it's kind of a parody of Pepsi and Coke. They're the two biggest ones. So I didn't want to use greens or any other colors because it wouldn't seem right.
Yeah.
So and the coloring on the book, uh,
Brian.
yeah, he did a great job. He was the one who put, I made sure to have him put a lot of the signage in the backgrounds, and I just wanted to really drive it home, uh, that these two companies had dominance over the world of soda. You know,
Hmm.
uh, I mean, I love advertising art. I'm really big into a lot of that kind of stuff, and I just wanted to, in some ways, it's kind of a love letter to all that. The ridiculousness of it. Um, so yeah, everybody on the book did a really good job.
Yeah,
It's
Brian and Sean. Sean did a great job with the lettering. We got really lucky with this, and then Mad Cave made us an offer to print the books, and we have an old buddy there that works there, Mark Irwin, that's a friend of ours, and the whole crew up there, Mark London and Mark, a lot of Marks up there. But they went in and they pushed this book like crazy, and we were able to accommodate us about getting different artists to do it because again we initially launched this as a Kickstarter, and we didn't want to reprint the covers from the Kickstarter and just use them over again. So they let us solicit new artists to do the books, and I think coming out tomorrow is number four. And we have what do we have? Who did those covers?
Andrew
Dave.
Robinson did one, and
Andrew.
J. Scott Campbell. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, Jay Scott did one
I
beautiful.
pulled some favors out of my Rolodex to get
Yeah,
you get a lot of the names we got. I mean, especially Adam Hughes. I was so happy that he agreed to do another cover because he did
yeah.
one for the initial run and the Kickstarter.
Kickstarter, yeah, yeah.
And I mean, those covers, the original covers, go for. I mean, if they're graded, they can go for like $1,500, which is insane. You know,
We like that insanity though. We like that.
yeah, yeah. So he came back to do another one, and he blew it out of the park. I mean, he did even a better job, and Jay Scott did. I mean, he put a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
work in. I thought he was just gonna, I don't know, do a hot chick, like not a lot going on, but he drew all those bottles and had her, bathing in cola. I mean, I was like, oh man, he really put the work in, and
Uh,
his wife, colored the hell out of it.
yeah.
So
It's
uh
it's stunning. That cover is stunning. I'm glad you gave him the favor because he now still owes me a favor. So I'm glad you used your favor with him because I've been trying to get him to do a Painkiller Jane cover for 15 years. I think I might finally get one next year. I
I
gotta.
don't know what I did to get it. I just approached him and he agreed to do it. And I was, I don't have naked photos of him or anything. So I don't know why I got so lucky.
He likes you.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Now, for what it's worth, I think what you've done with it takes like the Billy Joel concept of like rock and roller color wars and like adds so much to it. The elements of the story, the humor and madness of it. Really appreciate that. It's this expansive concept
Oh,
comes
thanks.
together really nicely. Yeah.
Yeah, and also I gotta do a shout out to Ryan Hughes who did the initial logo. And normally I do a lot of my own logos. I've done some for Jimmy in the past,
Oh yeah.
but I'm more of a hard edge logo guy because I don't have access to Illustrator, and Ryan Hughes is such a just a killer logo designer that I wanted something different than what I could do, and man, he really knocked it out of the park. And also, I implored an old high school friend to do the Popso and the Fizz One Cola logo. And once again, and he works in advertising, and he brought something that looked like a real. It wasn't just something shit out. I mean, it was something that really looked like real logos. And I think, you know, the whole package on the stands, I think hopefully that helped people want to pick it up because it just looks like a fun book, you know?
Mhm.
It doesn't look like a normal superhero book or a fantasy book. It's completely I think it's completely unique in the sense that it almost looks like an advertisement in a sense, but it's just fun, you know. With my covers, I tried to add bubbles almost to every cover just to kind of drive home the fact that the whole story is about bubbles. Really,
Right.
it's about carbonation.
That's
You
my
know,
nickname for Dave, Bubbles.
bubbles. Yeah,
Bubbles. Yeah.
It's a good one. It's a
we
good
only
one.
refer to that, in intimate times.
Yeah, when we're out late at night and everybody
In the
left us alone.
sauna. When
Yeah,
we're
and
getting the
So
spritz.
sweet.
You
Oh
yeah,
my
know,
gosh.
yeah,
So
little,
sweet.
my big little bubble man. Yeah. Anyway.
Wow. There's the syrupy corn syrup moment right there. Uh,
exactly.
well, the part you were saying, not that last part, but this part, the advertising element. I was gonna ask what makes comics the ideal space for telling the story, and I think that at least partially gets at that visual element, the Don
No
Draper of it all.
budget. We have no,
Yeah.
comic books don't have a budget, right? It just has it's like
Hmm.
fill the page with whatever you want, no budget. If we say 10,000 spaceships in a splash page, it's not going to cost us that. It's going to cost us the same as saying one. I mean, of course, the artist will want to stab you, but I just think that comics a true medium where you can visually do anything.
Well, but at the same time, what we did really, if you were to make it into a film, wouldn't be that expensive, you know?
No.
I mean, we kept it fairly low budget. Well, I'd say medium budget. I don't want to say low budget, but it could be an easily made film, and that's the other thing that surprised me how well it did with the relaunch and the publication because it's not over the top. It doesn't have superheroes. It doesn't have fantasy elements. It's just a straight up run and gun, goofy, weird premise kind of a book. And that, I mean, honestly, I was petrified that when Mad Cave published it, that nobody would give a crap, and I was pleasantly surprised that it was the opposite. So, and here we are.
Yeah.
We're being interviewed about it. So,
Very cool storytelling. Very cool. I think I have one more question on the list, and if I've missed anything else, you're welcome to throw that in. Any other nicknames or blackmail items that you have for artists and things like that. But
Ooh.
uh, curious, I always like to give folks the space to talk about where people can find the book, what's next for you, places that people might see you. I can verify that you both exist outside of Zoom. I've seen you both at Heroes Con.
Mhm.
So anything like that that you'd like to tee up?
well, I've got to miss Heroes Con this year. I was supposed to go, but I didn't want to travel, with a bum foot until I'm
Yeah.
completely healed. So, uh, Jimmy, you doing anything
Yeah,
recently or
yeah.
coming up?
Amanda and I will be at Heroes Con. We're gonna be there, and then San Diego right after that. And yeah, we got Pop Kill 4 comes out tomorrow, and Dave and I are talking about our next thing we're gonna do together, and
Yes.
yeah, I mean, it's I have a monthly comes out called Deadly Tales of the Gunslinger with Todd McFarlane. So I have a monthly that comes out, and I have a Harley Quinn Elvira crossover coming up between DC and Dynamite. And actually, Dave has a Batman book that's out right now on the stands, right there.
Yeah, the last Halloween, issue 7, and I just did a cover for Absolute Batman
Mhm, mhm.
for that crazy book, and just basically various covers. And once again, like Jimmy said, some more. We're working on another book together, and I don't want to put any spoilers out there yet.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but I'm really excited about working on it. So, yeah. And I've got some other ideas I'm going to try to go solo on. Um, put on my big boy pants and, uh,
That's the name of the book he's doing,
yeah, big boy pants.
Big Boy Pants. Yeah,
that's good. I can picture it. I can
you
picture
can
it right
picture that nice logo with a big pair of pants, with a guy
now.
peeping out of the pants, like he's coming out of the rim of the pants like this. You know?
Kind of like Stilt Man. Kind of like Stilt Man. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like it.
No, he'll be coming out of the fly area.
It'll be like zip, and then it's like,
Yeah,
hey.
exactly. It's going to be a horror
It's
book.
man, big
The
boy
number of
pants.
pitch meetings that we're having right now. It's
Oh,
like aliens
this is
meets
how our
aliens.
best this is how our best ideas come out from D Dave on pain medicine, oxy, whatever,
Yeah.
and and me in the heat too long today from Florida. So between the two of us, our brains are in that ripe, kind of chunky place where we can kind of merge together and come up with some craziness.
Yep.
Uh, the comics are look for me personally. I like comics that are fun, and I think there's
Mhm.
too much serious comics all the time. And granted, some people, I always say the easiest thing to write is a serious comic. The hardest thing to write is a comedy, fun comic, I think. And so I feel like Pop Kill fills that gap a little bit pretty well. And I think what we got coming up next that Dave and I are doing that fills that gap as well. I like the joy of comics.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean when any story like is too dark and there's no characters that you can really root for or laugh with, it just becomes kind of I don't want to read that.
yes.
I don't want to watch uh, I think we were talking, me and Jimmy were talking about it before, Yellowstone. All the characters, I can't, all the characters are so nasty. I'm like, I hate everybody on this show. I need a little bit of light, even in a dark kind of drama. There's got to be some relief, to make it interesting. And those are the kind of stories I want to tell. I don't want to get too serious.
There
I
you
just
go.
want to have some fun.
Did you had an issue there? Were you going to promo? Were
Oh,
you going to hold that up?
I was covering part of it. No, it's just Brian Stelfreeze's cover for one.
Ah, yeah.
The
Hmm.
placement of my finger, but just yeah, just a beautiful cover by. Brian used to be in the same studio as Dave, and so did Adam Hughes.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons or one of the ways I got them to do it.
Blackmail.
If I had just called up Adam and didn't know Adam, he probably would have hung up on me. So, you know, I mean, when you're in an industry this long, you're gonna make connections. You're gonna
Mhm.
make some
Hmm.
enemies, and but luckily, if you I don't know, rack up enough points on the good side, then good stuff comes back to you.
Yeah.
And I'm a hell of a
And
nice guy. People love me.
Dave's a nice guy in spite of somebody
you
breaking
seem
his
to
leg
be.
for money. I mean, he's a really nice guy.
Everybody who
Speedy
loves
recovery.
me, and
Speedy
everybody who
recovery.
hates me has a good reason.
Yeah, when
So
they hate Dave, they just break his legs. So
yes, they give me heel spurs.
yeah, they give you heel
So
spurs. It's a tough thing. It's tough.
That'll get you. That'll get you. Comics is tough.
yeah.
Comics is tough.
It is.
Yeah.
You got to be tough. You got to be tough in comics.
Yeah. Well, many, many thanks to you both. I won't keep you, but I know that in the next, if we go longer, there might be another book that comes out of this or two. I'm excited about what is coming up from you and glad to share about Pop Kill as well.
Thank you,
Well,
Jason. We appreciate it. Thank you, buddy.
hopefully everybody who sticks with it till the fourth issue enjoys. I think it's got a really good, solid, fun, satisfying ending. Where the right people get what they got coming to them.
Yeah,
And
if you don't smoke at the end of four, you might want to light up a cigarette
there
and
you go.
sit back and reflect on what you just read. I think that might happen.
We don't leave
Some
you hanging. Let's
meditation.
put it that way.
Yeah, no, this ends. It ends. So I do like a book that ends. You don't call me Bubbles anymore.